I'm going to have lunch at 1:30 today. Hopefully I don't regret this. Oh, here's the great thing about books. I don't have to worry about spraying them down because they're books. Okay. I'm eating my breakfast while I'm doing this. See people coming on. It's beautiful. Hello. Yes. Let me. Hello. Good. Sounds working. Beautiful. So, welcome. Good morning. It is Monday morning, Labor Day. Welcome. Jupiter is going retrograde. Mercury trines Jupiter today. Announcements are given by Daniel, Susan, and Linda. So they supply you with the information that you need to know. Not that I need to. All right. So let me eat my breakfast while I am doing this. Where were we? Yeah. So I was reading in here. I was reading about humanities. So let's just continue reading. Perception. We are not likely to respond sensitively to a work of art that we do not perceive properly. What is less obvious is the fact that we can often give our attention to a work of art and still not perceive very much. The reason for this should be clear from our previous discussion. Frequently, we need to know something about the background of a work of art that would aid our perception. Anyone who does not know something about the history of Rome, who Christ was, what fascism is, or what Mussolini meant to the world would have a difficult time making sense of the eternal city. But it is also true that anyone who could not perceive Bloom's composition might have a completely superficial response to the painting. Such a person could indeed know all about the background and understanding the symbolic statements made by the painting. But that is only part of the painting. From seeing what Edward Munch can do with form, structure, color, and expression, you can understand that the formal qualities of the painting are neither accidental nor unimportant. In Bloom's painting, the form focuses attention and organizes our perceptions by establishing the relationship between the parts. Each of these four paintings draws your immediate attention to a figure or form. As you examine the painting, the relationships of other elements begin to slowly reveal the importance of the subject matter. Look back at these paintings to see which figure attracts your attention most immediately, and then see how your attention is drawn to the entire painting. Abstract ideas and concrete images. This is the next section. Composition is basic in all the arts. Artistic form is essential to the success of any art object. To perceive any work of art adequately, we must perceive its structure. Examine the following poem by Robert Herrick and consider the purpose of its shape. This is one of many shaped poems designed to have a visual, formal structure that somehow illuminates its subject matter. So this is what it says. It's called The Pillar of Fame. Famous pillar here last we set, out during marble, brass, or jet, charmed and enchanted, so as to withstand the blow of overthrow, nor shall the seas, or outrages, or storms, or bear what we appear the kingdom's fall. This pillar never shall decline or waste at all, but stand forever by his own firm and well-fixed foundation. I'm not going to even go into detail on analyzing this. Excuse me. Oh, you know what? Make this 1,000 times easier. Okay. Robert Herrick. This is moving on. Robert Herrick, a 17th century poet, valued both honor and fame. During the English Civil War, he lost his job as a clergyman because he honored his faith and refused to abandon his king. He hoped to achieve fame as a poet, an initiation of the great Roman poets. His outrages and storms refer to the war and the decades following, in which he stayed in self-exile after the overthrow of King Charles I. He portrayed fame as a pillar because pillars hold up buildings, and when the buildings become ruins, how long is this? Pillars often survive as testimony to greatness. Herrick hoped his poem would endure longer than physical objects such as marble, brass, and jet, a black precious jewel made of coal, because fame is an abstraction and cannot wear or erode, shaping the poem to resemble a pillar with a capital and a stylobate foundation is an example of a wet. When he wrote poetry, one of Herrick's greatest achievements was the expression of wit, a poetic expression of intelligence and understanding. This poem achieves the blending of ideas and objects, of the abstract and the concrete through its structure. The poem is a concrete expression of an abstract idea. In Paradise Lost, John Milton describes hell as a place with rocks, caves, lakes, fens, bogs, dens, and shades of death. Now, neither you nor the poet has ever seen shades of death, although the idea is for Psalm 23. The Valley of the Shadow of Death. Milton gets away with describing hell this way because he has linked this abstract idea of shades of death to so many concrete images in this single line. He is giving us images that suggest the mood of hell just as much as they describe the landscape. And we realize that he gives us so many topographic details to prepare us for the last detail, the abstract idea of shades of death. There is much more to be said about poetry, of course, but on a preliminary level, poetry worked in much the same way as in the 17th century England of Milton, as it does in contemporary America. The same principles are at work. Described objects or events that are used as a means of bringing abstract ideas to life. The descriptions take on a wider and deeper significance, wider in the sense that the descriptions are connected with a larger scope of abstract ideas, and deeper in the sense that these descriptions make the abstract ideas vividly focused and more meaningful. The following poem is highly complex. The memory of an older culture. I need to get my nose blown, of course. I think I may just skip lunch. Having a late breakfast. All right, had to do that. I had to take care of it. You know, when your nose needs to be blown, you can't deny that. You have to deal with it. You just have to deal with it. Alrighty, moving on. Where was I? I'm just going to start in the paragraph that I was beginning. This is ridiculous. Shouldn't be 2 trays. Hey, can you get me a yogurt, Daddy? Just whatever's available, I don't care. Yeah, mixed berry. Okay, thank you.
Oh, you have a spoon? Do you need another? Can I take the spoon back?
No, I'm using 2 spoons. Well, I'm gonna dry this. You can take this back. Make sure that all of you sit in on these live streams till the end. I don't do these just so that you can tune in and then not tune in. So I think that you've inadvertently gotten the message that, oh, you know what, I can do whatever while being on these live streams. You can watch videos, you can read, you can do whatever, but you need to be on these live streams. You know what? I'll have a lot of food, and I'll just wait until dinner to eat. I'll just have breakfast and lunch just almost smushed together. Okay. Now, I'm going to read this paragraph again from the beginning. Here we go. In Paradise Lost, John Milton describes hell as a place with rocks, caves, lakes, fens, bogs, dens, and shades of death. Now, neither you nor the poet has ever seen shades of death, although the idea is in Psalm 23. The valley of the shadow of death. Milton gets away with describing hell this way because he has linked the abstract idea of shades of death to so many concrete images in this single line. He is giving us images that suggest the mood of hell just as much as they describe the landscape. And we realize that he gives us so many topographic details to prepare us for the last detail. The abstract idea of shades of death. There is much more to be said about poetry, of course, but on a preliminary level, poetry worked in much the same way as the 7th century England of Milton, whatever, as it does in contemporary America. The same principles are at work. Described objects or events are used as a means of bringing abstract ideas to life. The descriptions take on a wider and deeper significance, wider in the sense that the descriptions are connected with the larger scope of abstract ideas, and deeper in the sense that these descriptions make the abstract ideas vividly focused and more meaningful. The following poem is highly complex, the memory of an older culture, described as simple, and the consideration of a newer culture described as complex. It is by the Nigerian poet Gabriel Okara, and knowing that he is African, we can begin to appreciate the extreme complexity of Okara's feelings about the clash of the old and new cultures. It doesn't make it. Wow. Talk about culturally appropriated. Just because you are African, Black, whatever you are, does not mean that you are less sensitive than anybody else. Doesn't mean that, if I see somebody, I should be careful and more sensitive towards them. And I should have more respect and appreciation towards them. I mean, we are all human. We are all equal. And that's all I want to say about it. He symbolizes the clash in terms of music, and he opposes two musical instruments, the drum and the piano. They stand respectively for the African and the European cultures. But even beyond the musical images that abound in this poem, look closely at the images of nature, the pictures of the panther and leopard, and see how Okara imagines them. Now, I was going to find out before I sneezed all over the place if I could get this text online so that could make this easier and more efficient. So, launch assignment. Okay. The poem is called Piano and Drums. When at break of day at a riverside, I hear jungle drums telegraphing the mystic rhythm, urgent, raw, like bleeding flesh, speaking of primal youth in the beginning. I see the panther ready to pounce, the leopard snarling about to leap, and the hunters crouch with spears poised. And my blood ripples, torns, torment, couples the years, and at once I'm in my mother's lap as suckling, at once I'm walking simple paths with no innovations, rugged fashion with the naked warmth of bearing feet and groping hearts. There has got to be Kleenexes doing here. 10:40. Sorry that I'm taking so long. It's just what happens. Oh, for crying out loud. Where was I? Okay. I wrote through the poem. Just gonna move on. Let me read the poem again. Okay, I'm gonna set a limit on this because I have other things that I need to do today. More important things that I have to do, so I can't spend all of my day with this. So the poem is Piano and Drums. This is how it goes. When at break of day at a riverside, I hear jungle drums telegraphing, the mystic rhythm urgent raw, like bleeding flesh, speaking of primal youth in the beginning. I see the panther ready to pounce, the leopard snarling, about to leap, and the hunters crouch with spears poised, and my blood ripples, corn's torrent, topples the years, and at once I'm in my mother's lap, a suckling. At once I'm walking simple paths with no innovations, rugged fashion with the naked warmth of bearing feet and grafting hearts, or whatever that word is. I'm not going to analyze what it is. In green leaves and wildflowers pulsing, then I hear a wailing piano, and speaking of complex ways, and tear-furrowed concerto of faraway lands of new horizons with coaxing diminuendo, counterpoint, crescendo, but lost in the labyrinth of the complexities, it ends in the middle of a phase at a dagger point. And I lost in the morning mist of an age at a riverside keep, wandering in the mystic rhythm of jungle drums in the concerto. Now I'm getting very, very bored by this, so I'm going to make it a little bit more entertaining. Oh, yeah, I have to clean up all the mess that I just made, right? It's not as simple as it should be, but it is what it is. So I'm going to yet again be back. It's very, very annoying. I might be back in a while from now. Or a little bit. Who knows? I mean, maybe I'll feel the need to go to the restroom. I don't care if this live stream is left on. I don't care if you have to stay on this live stream all day. I don't care. I'm getting this done like I do here. I'm not going to go to bed until I get everything that I want accomplished done. If I lose sleep, I lose sleep. So be it. And if I stay home tomorrow because I don't go to the restroom today, that's just going to have to be what's going to happen because my system is absolutely sluggish. This is why I'm drinking this lemon water. So, I'm going to leave those napkins right there where they are. I'm going to be right back, and then I'm just going to continue on with doing this thing. And then I want to announce something. So I just want you to hold on. I'm going to be right back, and then I'm going to make my big announcement. Not that I have you. I'm exhausted from dealing with all this stuff that I have to deal with. Oh, it's ridiculous. Crap. Okay, I'm done. I'm done dealing with that. Have a nice life. Fell on the floor. Hey, can you come here?
What do you want?
Here, I want you to take this tray upstairs, first of all.
Okay, just a second.
And then wash the spoon.
Can't you take stuff up here?
Daddy, I've been doing so many things. I'm tired. I'm just exhausted.
Everything you
Daddy, I didn't want to hear it. I'm exhausted.
You're exhausting us.
Well, I don't intend to exhaust you. Hey. What load? How do I get to medium load? Oh, there. Okay, I don't know.
What'd you say?
I'll just get it on.
Colors?
Yeah.
This is a clean thing, this is to help them dry.
Yeah. We'll put it there. This.
Sure.
Okay.
Slow down. Close that door.
All right. Oh my gosh. Hello, everybody. Told you that I might be a long time, and I was. So, what was I doing again? What was I going to tell you? Yes. I'm just going to forgo the announcement. I was going to tell you that announcement, but I think I'm going to have to wait about a couple more weeks before I can tell you. So, alrighty, so I am going to go to the piano and try to sing this because I am super bored and I'm going to try to do everything I can to make this not as boring as it is, because it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So, I'm going to go to the piano and see what I can do to add a little bit of excitement to this, and it's only 11:15. So, here we go. Oh, the riffs? Then it's fine. Okay, here we go. I can already tell this is going to be stupid. In green leaves and wildflowers pulsing, then I hear a wailing piano, solo speaking of complex ways. In tear-furrowed concerto of faraway lands and new horizons, with coaxing diminuendo, counterpoint, crescendo. But lost in the labyrinth of its complexities, it ends in the middle of a phrase at a dagger point. And I lost in the morning mist of my age at a riverside keep, wandering in the mystic realm of jungle drums and the concerto. Moving on. Such a poem speaks directly to people in African nations that achieved independence, as Nigeria did in 1960, but consider some points in light of what we have discussed earlier. In order to perceive the kind and emotional struggle that Okara talks about, the subject matter of the poem, we need to know something about Africa and the struggle African nations have in modernizing themselves. We also need to know something of the history of Africa and the fact that European nations, such as Britain in the case of Nigeria, once colonized nearly all of Africa. Knowing these things, we know then that there is no thought of the narrator of the poem accepting the complex ways of the new culture without qualification. The narrator does not think of the culture of the piano as manifestly superior to the culture of the drum. That is why the labyrinth of complexities ends at a dagger point. We have argued that the perception of a work of art is aided by background information, and that sensitive perception must be aware of form, at least simplicity. But we believe there is much more to sensitive perception. Somehow the form of a work of art is an artistic form that clarifies or reveals values. And our response is intensified by our awareness of those revealed values. But how does artistic form do this? And how does this awareness come to us? In the next chapter, we shall consider these questions. And in doing so, we will also raise the most important question: what is a work of art? Once we have examined each of the arts, it will be clear that the principles developed in these opening chapters are equally applicable to all the arts. Examine and analysis Edward Hopper's Night Hawks. Night Hawks is a large painting about 3 to 5 feet. So a viewer of the Art Institute of Chicago could see the people in most detail. The woman who was modeled by Hopper's wife, Josephine, is handling what seems to be cash or a book of matches. The man next to her has a hawk-like face, possibly prompting the painting's title. The man whose back is to us bears a strong resemblance to Hopper himself. The diner of the urban emblem that stays open all night. This diner, with no visible entrance and therefore no obvious way out, is marked by intense light. Possibly inspired by the recently developed fluorescent lighting, which harshly exposes the patterns and permits them to be examined minutely. The darkness of the outside contrasts with the interior light flooding the street. The curves of the glass seem to wrap the figures in a bell jar, as if they were specimens to be studied. The loneliness of late night insomniances in the city had already been established as a trope in the urban films of the 1930s during the Great Depression. Hopper implied that he was also inspired by an Ernest Hemingway short story, either The Killers, which depicts a marked man waiting alone for his assassins, or A Clean, Well-Lighted Place, which focuses on a young man and a woman waiting in a cafe for a train that would take her to a hospital for an abortion. Hopper said that loneliness was less a subject matter for him in the painting than the possibility of predators late at night. And the page came out. Summary. Unlike scientists, humans generally do not use strictly objective standards. Page got ripped out. Bad for several reasons. Here's the deal. I mean, the teacher is a little bit kind of all over the place. Look how over the place I am today. So, what kind of message are you sending to your students? What kind of message are you sending to your students? This page got ripped out. Unlike scientists, humanists generally do not use strictly objective standards. The arts reveal or clarify values, and fields in the humanities study values. Artistic form refers to the structure or organization of a work of art. Judging from the most ancient efforts to make visual representations, we can assert that the arts represent one of the most basic human activities. They satisfy a need to explore and express the values that we live by and that link us together. By observing our responses to a work of art and examining the means by which the artist evokes those responses, we can deepen our understanding of art. Our approach to the humanities is through the arts, and our response to art connects with our deep feelings. Our response is continually improved by experience and education. Background information about a work of art and increased sensitivity to its artistic form intensify our responses. The question asks, which statement best corresponds with the author's approach to the humanities? Well, let's just find out. Either one of those. Yeah, I'm going to shoot it. Yeah. So it doesn't really give you Eye of the Beholder. Eye of the Beholder. Wouldn't it be great if I could take a Command F and go through this? That would be amazing. Problem is I can't do that, so I'm just going to have to guess with whatever I can do. Believe me, if I did this on my own, I wouldn't have the time because I would be so busy with every other thing, and then I would be sitting at my computer. Oh, something else comes up. Oh, something else comes up. Oh, something else comes up. So I'm doing it this way, and I will continue to do it this way for every assignment that I have to do for these two classes. So I don't know. So cave paintings. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I don't know. I'm going to choose option D. Move on. The text emphasizes studying the humanities through the arts. Why must artists make the structure interesting? Sometimes political, that the culture expected. Today, the art has changed profoundly, and art is sometimes thought of to be I'm just trying to look for where it talks about structure here, but it's going to be like trying to catch a cloud to find the answers because I should have no shoulds. No shoulds, absolutely. You just have to go with what you have done. So I'm not going to do what I did. Okay, well, I learned that lesson and I just made my life a whole lot more difficult because I now have to go back through and find the answers. So this gets way too involving. And I have other things that it's already 11:30. Would you look at that? Okay. All right. The organization of a medium that clarifies or reveals the subject matter is described as receptive form, emotional form, artistic form. Which statement best describes Robert Henrich's poem, The Pillar of Frame? Okay, let me go there. Okay. The poem that out of several poems that I read. So where does it talk about the eternal city? The pillar of fame, 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 pillar of fame. Here we go. I'll put as much effort into this as I can, but I'm not gonna put any effort into something that I cannot just sit down and materialize. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and catch a cloud and waste time. I am not in a prison cell when this is the only thing that I have to do because I'm super bored. I have a life and I have other things in my life, including this, that I need to worry about. So, composition is basic in all the arts. Artistic form is essential to the success of any art object. To perceive any work of art adequately, we must perceive its structure. Examine the following poem by Robert Henrich and consider the purpose of its shape. This is one of many shaped poems designed to have a visual, formal structure that somehow illuminates its subject matter. So, fame's pillar here at last we set, out during marble, brass, or jet, charmed and enchanted so as to withstand the blow of overthrow, nor shall the seas or outrageous of storms bear what we appear the kingdom's fall, the pillars never shall decline nor waste at all, but stand forever by his own firm and well fixed foundation. The Eternal City. Does it even give you the poem of the Eternal City, or does it just... Oh, well, that's great. The page ripped, so good. So, but I know where it is, so. Where is it? The Eternal City. Where does it talk about the Eternal City? So, what is this? Oh, we're almost done. Look at that. What is the subject matter of Bloom's The Eternal City? Fascism. Piano and drums. Let's go back to piano and drums. Let me find where that is. Here we go. So in Akara's poem, Piano and Drums, what does the piano symbolize? Does it go on? Focus is not good. I mean, if the pages are barely holding together, how can you enjoy the book? Anyway, okay. So such a poem speaks directly to people in African nations that achieved independence as Nigeria did in 1960, but considers some points of light in what we have discussed earlier. In order to perceive kind of emotional struggle that Akara talks about, the subject matter of the okay. So it goes on. So let me just go here. European cultures. They stand for, what do they stand for? The African and European cultures. Oh, that's great. I'm going to do the African cultures. It's the best that I can do because it said both. Knowledge about the cultural and political implicate. I'm not going to go back when I choose the answer. Knowledge about the cultural and political implications, the background of a work of art. You know what? I'm going to choose music because it said both and you can't choose two answers. So that may be an obvious answer and that may be wrong, but you know what? It's also wrong to only do one. It said both. It said the African and the European cultures. So if I chose European cultures as an answer, oh, what about the African cultures? So I just chose music just to make it easier. Otherwise, it's just, why choose European cultures? It's both. I don't understand that question. Knowledge about the cultural and political implications, the background of a work of art. Knowledge about. You know, I think I'm going to go back and choose African cultures because there we go. Okay. We have argued The perception of a work of art is aided by background information, and that sensitive perception must be aware of form, at least implicity. Okay. Aids to our perception and intensifies our response. You're done. Wow, 80%. Good. Okay. Well, for doing this on a live stream in this kind of form, I'd say that I did pretty well. Okay. So, continue. I don't know why it's asking me this, but I think that I'm done. Okay, and I want to see what is going on for anthropology. Let me go to anthropology to find out what I need to do for that. So I know what I need to do, but let me just go to cultural anthropology. By the way, Heather Ensworth is going to be doing a presentation on anthropology and astrology. I discussed that with her Friday, and it will be published on the new moon in Virgo coming up September 14th. So keep an eye out for that. It will be up on the Humanities website on September 14th. And I might as well just get my announcement out of the way, is that as we are heralding the fall, actually next week, so September, okay, so today is the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So September 9 is when Malika Semper is going to be arriving to the event, and we're going to be discussing the opposition of Aries and Libra, the Aries North Node, Libra South Node, Libra North Node, Aries South Node. Because I had a dream about Malika Semper, she was in it. I was thinking about the Libra North Node in the dream. I'm reading about that in Astrology for the Soul. It's very, very interesting to me. So, her North Node is not Gemini. It is Libra, but it's both air North Nodes. So, we're connecting on Instagram. We're chatting, doing all those kind of things like that. Okay. So, okay, she doesn't have the assignment up. So, proof notes. Proof notes. What? I am including weeks 1 and 2. So, focus on chapter 1. It's a scientific study of human phenomena. It doesn't tell me anything. Okay. So, it's 11:44 now, so I am going to be moving on to the next part of this live stream. Cultural anthropology, appreciating the diversity. Now we're getting into an actual physical book that you do not have to staple together. Okay. So, chapter 1. By the way, how long is chapter 1? Let me just skim through it again. I'm sure. It's not too long. Ooh. Okay, well, this is kind of a dense book, so yeah. Okay, this is like a news article. This is very, very dense. Very, 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 very dense. That could be an issue. If I'm trying to look through this to find answers, my patience is probably not going to be very much. So, yeah, it's a textbook, not a news article. So, we'll see what happens. I'm actually going to wait a little bit because I just had my breakfast. Okay. Let's read through these particular chapter, section, whatever. Okay. So, let me just dispose of those napkins right there. I've already touched them and they're clean. Okay, let me go. So the first chapter, it says, read chapters 1 and 2. So what is anthropology? What distinguishes anthropology from other fields that study human beings? How do anthropologists study human diversity in time and space? Why is anthropology both scientific and humanistic? By the way, I'm going to keep both of these books down here. Understanding ourselves. When we grew up, which sport did you appreciate the most? Soccer, swimming, football, baseball, tennis, golf, or some other sport, or perhaps none at all. Is this because of who you are, or because of the opportunities you had as a child to practice and participate in this particular activity? Think about the phrases and sentences you would use to describe yourself in a personal ad or on a networking site. Your likes and dislikes, hobbies and habits. How many of these descriptors would be the same if you had been born in a different place or time? When you were young, your parents might have told you that drinking milk and eating vegetables would help you grow up big and strong. They probably didn't recognize as readily the role that culture plays in shaping bodies, personalities, and personal health. If nutrition matters in growth, so too do cultural guidelines. What is proper behavior for boys and girls? What kinds of work should men and women do? Where should people live? What are proper uses of their leisure time? What role should religion play? How should people relate to their family, friends, and neighbors? Although our genetic attributes provide a foundation to our growth and development, human biology is fairly plastic. That is, it is malleable. Culture is an environmental force that affects our development as much as do nutrition, heat, cold, and altitude. I wish altitude wasn't included there. Culture also guides our emotional and cognitive growth and helps determine the kinds of personalities we have as adults. Oh, and also our astrology natal birth chart and our progressive chart as well. Among scholarly disciplines, anthropology stands out as the field that provides the cross-cultural test. How much would we know about human behavior, thought, and feeling if we studied only our own kind? What if our entire understanding of human behavior were based on analysis of questionnaires filled out by college students in Oregon? Get in the habit of asking this question. What is the basis of any statement or generalization you may read or hear concerning what humans are like individually or collectively? A primary reason anthropology can uncover so much about what it means to be human is that the discipline is based on the cross-cultural perspective. A single nation or culture simply cannot tell us everything we need to know about what it means to be human. We need to compare and contrast. Often culture is invisible, assumed to be normal, or just the way things are, until it is placed in comparison to other culture. For example, to appreciate how people use media and the effects of such use, we need to consider not just contemporary North America, but other places, and perhaps even other times. Right now, for example, I am part of a research team that is studying the evolution of media, including broadcast and streaming TV, as well as social media, and its use in Brazil from the 1980s through the present. We will eventually compare this evolution with changes in media use and effects in the United States over a comparable period of time. The cross-cultural test is fundamental to the anthropological research, which orients this textbook. Human diversity. Anthropologists study human beings and their products wherever and whenever they find them. In rural Kenya, a Turkish cafe, a Mesopotamian tomb, or a North American shopping center, anthropology explores human diversity across time and space, seeking to understand as much as possible about the human condition. Of particular interest is the diversity that comes through human adaptability. Humans are among the world's most adaptable animals. In the Andes of South America, people wake up in villages 16,000 feet above sea level and then trek 1,500 feet higher to work in 10 minutes. 10 miles. In the Australian outback, people worship animals and discuss philosophy. Humans survive malaria in the tropics. A dozen men have walked on the moon. The model of the USS Enterprise in Washington Smithsonian Institution symbolized the desire to seek out new life and civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Wishes to know the unknown, control the uncontrollable, and create order out of chaos first find expression among all peoples. Creativity, adaptability, and flexibility are basic human attributes, and human diversity is the subject matter of anthropology. Students often are surprised by the breadth of anthropology, which is the study of humans around the world and through time. Anthropology is a uniquely comparative and holistic science. Holism refers to the study of the whole of the human condition, past, present, and future, biology, society, language, and culture. Most people think that anthropologists study fossils and non-industrial, non-Western cultures, and many of them do. But anthropology is much more than the study of non-industrial peoples. It is a comparative field that examines all societies, ancient and modern, simple and complex, local and global. The other social sciences tend to focus on a single society, usually their own nation, such as the United States or Canada. Anthropology, however, offers a unique cross-cultural perspective by constantly comparing the customs of one society with those of others. People share society, organize life in groups with other animals, including monkeys, apes, wolves, mole rats, and even ants. Culture, however, is more distinctly human. Cultures are traditions and customs transmitted through learning that form and guide the beliefs and behaviors of the people exposed to them. Children learn such a tradition by growing up in a particular society through a process called enculturalization. Cultural traditions include customs and opinions developed over the generations about proper and improper behavior. These traditions answer such questions as: how should we do things? How do we make sense of the world? How do we distinguish between what is right and what is wrong? A culture produces a degree of consistency in behavior and thought among the people who live in a particular society. The most critical element of cultural traditions is their transmission through learning rather than through biological inheritance. Culture is not itself biological, but it rests on certain features of human biology. For more than 1 million years, humans have possessed at least some of the biological capacities on which culture depends. These abilities are to learn, to think symbolically, to use language, and to make and use tools. Anthropology confronts and produces major questions about past and present human existence. By examining ancient bones and tools, we unravel the mysteries of human origins. When did our ancestors separate from those of the apes? Where and when did Homo sapiens originate? How has our species changed? What are we now? And where are we going? How has social and cultural changes influenced biological change? Our genius, Homo, has been changing for more than 1 million years. Humans continue to adapt and change both biologically and culturally. Okay. I think that I'm going to stop there for today. I'm going to pick it back up in 2 days from now. So that's it, everybody.